Good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Friday. Welcome back to In the Trenches with Dr. Tammy. As you can see, I am still celebrating Founders Day a bit. I am wearing some Z5B here on myself. I am packing, or shall I say, headed out for a blue and white cruise. So that's super, super exciting. Haven't been on one in a while. But for today, I need us to hone in and focus on something that I think that we don't focus on enough. So here's where we need to go today. I spend a lot of time, and I'm sure you do as well, spend a lot of time helping others, speaking life into others, just being there for other people. But today, I need to ask you, who's pouring into you? So I ask you that question because it's extremely important that we remember that we need to pour into those who pour into us. You see, earlier this week, I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and the question was asked of me, you know, how does the world see Tammy? And I really don't know the answer to that. I would like to say that the world sees Dr. Tammy as someone who's humble, someone who's caring, someone who's giving. But do I actually allow them that opportunity to really see the inner workings of me? Of course, I give that opportunity to those who are closer to me, but I must say that I had to self reflect on that for a bit because I do spend a great deal of time alone, by myself, working on things again for other people. But who's pouring into me? And having that particular conversation, as well as some others that I'm going to share with you, made me think, well, wow, this person cares enough about me to wonder who's there for me. What are you doing in your time of need? When you need someone, can you actually reach out to them? Can they speak life over you? Is it an opportunity available for you to even be vulnerable with other people? I would like to say that answer for me is yes, but I sometimes think that it's not necessarily 100% true. And some of that might be self imposed. Remember, I told you that when we have courageous conversations here, I'm going to be 100% transparent with you also about my inner workings and where I may fall short. And I'm starting to think that one of my flaws is that I don't often take the time to ask for help. I don't often reach out to someone if I'm having a bad day or if I just need to vent for a second. Because one, I feel like it's bothersome to others, excuse me, if I reach out to them and I say, I need help, or I just need a listening ear, and I think part of that could be upbringing because, one of the things that I was taught is that, a listening ear can be a running mouth. And we all know that's not necessarily true. I've been to enough schooling, taken enough psych classes to know that's not 100% accurate, but sometimes just a little bit back here, you hear that, well, better not say it because I might hear it again someplace else. So I guess what we need to do, especially myself, in order for people to actually pour into us, we need to find our village. So I challenge you to do the same. I want you to take a moment to, if nothing else, think about it or write it down. Who are the people in your village? Is that one or two people? Is it three people? Do you have an entire tribe? I don't know. But for me, I need to take a moment and look at that. Take a moment to think about that because I don't know about you, but I spend a tremendous amount of time trying to be strong for other people. And guess what? That does sometimes leave us in a place where we have taken on so much that it gets really, really heavy. And when you're in that moment of heaviness, what is it that you can do? Now, I know for me, I have taken to writing a great deal, and that helps me. That gives me an outlet. I often pray about things. That's another outlet. But there are times outside of prayer or writing or even therapy, because as you know, I've shared with you that therapy is a go-to. I don't think that we should take that lightly. I think that we need to remember that therapy is absolutely okay for you to do. It is an outlet. But beyond those things, who do you allow to be in your village? Who do you allow to pour into you? And I'm using the word allow because we often shut people out. We put up walls that we don't let people into. We keep people out of our space. And I'm guilty of that oftentimes. I am a good friend, I believe. I listen. I help when needed. I often volunteer my help when maybe it's not necessarily needed, but I feel like it is. I've never been pushed away. It's been well received. But again, if you're anything like me, you're so willing to jump in there for everybody and anybody. I've even assisted strangers, people I don't know, because in my mind, in my heart, I know for a fact that there's a blessing somewhere on the other side of that for me. I don't know when, I don't know how, but if I am doing my part, then God sees that and He will return that to me tenfold at some point. But again, who is pouring into me? Who is pouring into you? We have to remember not only to identify that village, but we need to replenish ourselves. We need to take a moment to just rest, relax. And I often just do this at my desk. I just take a moment, close my eyes, and I just breathe and take in some silence. It clears my mind. Now, when it's warm outside, I'll get in a little jog or a really, really quick mile or two brisk walk, because at my age, I'm not running as much as I used to. However, that gives me time to clear my mind. So those are some exercises that I do both physically and mentally that help me to find my way back to a healthier me, a me that can continue to pour into others. Because again, I believe, and I talked last week about, are you walking in your purpose? I shared with you that I believe in my heart of hearts that my purpose is to help other people, and that my purpose is so much bigger than just myself. And I think that we don't spend enough time thinking about that. But yet, while we're identifying our purpose, while we're walking in our purpose, we still need to know who's there to support us. And I had that question asked to me as well, not just how does the world see you, Dr. Tammy? What do they see when they look at you? What do they feel when they think of you? But a question that was asked of me was, who helps you? Who helps you? Who can you depend on? And I had to think about that for a second. I literally had to take more than a second, a few minutes to think about that, because who can I depend on? And I need you to understand that's bigger than being single. This isn't about being in a relationship or anything like that. This is simply about if something happened, big or small, who could I depend on? And I'm going to tell you, when you sit down and you look at the list or the non-existent list of people that you could just automatically pick up the phone and call, and you knew for a fact, without a shadow of a doubt, that they would drop everything that they were doing and get to you as quickly as possible and help you in your time of need. That's the list that I'm talking about. That is the list that I was looking at going, well, you know, who is there? Because, we all have children and they have busy lives. And sure, in an emergency, absolutely, they'd find a way to get here. But beyond the children in our lives, is there a good friend? Is there a best friend? Is there a colleague? Is there a significant other? Again, that takes me back to the question, have you identified your village? Who are those people in that village who can pour into you? Because again, in that moment of need, who are you calling? Who are you calling? That can be an eye opener for so many of us. When we start thinking about who's there for us or who's willing to be there for us, it might give you pause. It does give you an opportunity to be 100% real with yourself, because sometimes we're not. We're so busy being real or there for someone else or standing in the gap for them. But there is a time and a place when we have to conduct, that's what we're going to call it, conduct a true assessment of who is there for us, who's pouring into us. So again, I got to keep asking this question all throughout this episode. Who is pouring into you? Who is that? Who is that person? Or who are those people? Now, what I don't want you to do is this. Please don't make the mistake of thinking that I am saying to you to stop pouring into others. Absolutely not. I am telling you to continue walking your journey. I am telling you to continue to walk in your purpose, to walk it like you talk it. I am telling you to continue to do that. Let those words and actions be one and the same. Don't stop being who you are. Don't stop giving to others. That's for you to do. That is what you were called to do. If you're anything like me, then you know that. You know what you're supposed to do. However, I also implore upon you not to be discouraged if you take the time to sit down and think about who the person or the people are that you could call in your time of need. When you sit down to create that list, you know how jobs do when they're conducting interviews and they create this thing called the short list, the people who are on the top that they consider to be their top candidates. That's what your village list should look like. It's your short list of people that you can call immediately. So don't be discouraged if you sit down and you look at that list and you start to analyze who's on that list. Because sometimes this can be an eye opener for you. You put a person down and you start to think, oh, well, I called them that one time and they were too busy or they didn't have the time. And you get to the next person. Well, I tried to call them, but they never answered their phone. So please don't be discouraged when you start looking at the people on your list or the people that you thought were on your short list. Because what will happen is you will truly be able to identify who is in your corner and there for you when you need help, when you need to vent, when you just need a moment with someone who you know is going to be a true listener, someone who's going to truly just stand in the gap for you, whether that be in a conversation, whether that be in prayer. I recently reached out to a friend of mine and simply said, "Hey, can you say a prayer for me?" And the beauty in that is that this person absolutely did. Because again, make no mistake about it, those of us who are empaths, those of us who stand in the gap for others, those of us who are strong all the time, we have moments when we need help. And for me, that help was in the method of prayer. Because y'all already know, I believe in some prayer. But again, I need you to remember that it's okay to ask for help. That is something I'm working on. It is okay to do that. It really is. Look for your village. And when you find them, this is one piece of advice I need to take as well. When you find your village, please don't be afraid to lean on them. That's what they're for. That's what we do for them all of the time. So it is okay. It is absolutely okay for us to do the same. Please don't forget that. Let your village pour into you. I need you to do that. I challenge you to do that. And in a future episode, I will let you know how it's going for me. I will let you know if my village is being there for me as well. And not only are they being there for me, but am I allowing them to be there? Meaning, am I continuing to keep things to myself? Am I continuing to try to handle everything alone? Because I need us to remember we don't have to do that. So when I ask you who's pouring into you, make sure you know who they are, but make sure you allow them. So before I end this episode today, I want to share something that happened, and I'm so excited about it because I've been talking to you all about some of the things that I've been doing. So today I received this, and I'm so excited. It is the first copy of the first book in my children's series, A Brown Skinned Girl Like Me, The Elementary Years. It is here. And if you're interested in a copy, please reach out to me via social media or email at drtammy70@gmail.com. And all the social media outlets, I am available to make sure that you receive your copy. Let me know if you'd like it to be signed as well. I've received quite a few requests for that. And it's just exciting. It's exciting, exciting. I dedicated this book to my grandmother and my three beautiful children for being my why. So, thank you for joining me today on yet another episode of In the Trenches with Dr. Tammy. Just remember what I've said to you today. Remember to find your village. Remember to allow your village to pour into you. And I'm going to end with the same question I asked at the beginning. Who is pouring into you? I'm working on identifying that for myself. I encourage you to do the same. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. Have an absolutely amazing weekend.